Welcome, Crypt fans, to the Cryptique Podcast. My name's Kenny. I'm here with my co-host, Godden. And together, we're here to watch and review every horrific, often hilarious episode of the legendary HBO anthology series, Tales from the Crypt. And today we are on our third episode of the day. So the season 3 premiered with 3 episodes back to back to back. And here we are releasing our episodes back to back to back. Godden, how are you again?
Doing great. I'm excited that we're doing a premiere special along with the premiere special. I think it's really fun.
It is fun. I'm really looking forward to having these all bam, bam, bam coming out. And we had talked a little bit about this before, but I think premiering them might be a good idea. So if you watch the first episode during the premiere, you may have had to wait a little bit to watch this one, but at least you'll be able to get all 3 of them in one day. So here we are on season 3, episode 3. This is called The Trap. It, along with the previous 2 episodes, were premiered on June 15th, 1991. And this comes to us from Shock Suspense Stories. So before we get into this episode, again, I got to give my disclaimer. We're not professionals. We're just some hobbyists who are hanging out, watching one of our favorite TV shows, and then using this as a platform to come and just blab about it. So if you like what we're doing here, if you don't like what we're doing here, either way, let us know in the comments. And we're using this to build a platform for people to come and join in on the party. So don't be scared of those comments. Come in and join on that, on our, what do you want to call this? Hype train? Tales from the Crypt hype train?
Yeah, I like that. Or something more ghoulish. Ghoulish train. Or skeleton train.
Thanks. Okay. Also, spoiler warning, we are going to be going into great detail about this episode. So if you don't want to be spoiled, go watch the episode somehow, then come back to hear us go on about it. Let me go ahead and read the description. Inked in blood. On human flesh here, on the back of the DVD box set, The Trap. Fake his own death, then collect the life insurance. But a thug's get-rich scheme can go dead wrong. Dun, dun, dun. All right, and I have a little something written here. This is my version of the events. A mean-spirited and abusive husband, Lou Paloma, convinces his wife and brother to go along with his plan to fake his own death for the insurance money. Will his plan have him laughing to the bank? Or will it be his estranged wife and brother who share the last laugh? I guess we'll never know, Godden. I guess we'll never know.
We'll never know.
No, that's not true. That's not true. We'll just keep going with this episode and we'll all learn what happens. So before we get into it, let me know. Okay, I want to know. The world wants to know. Everybody wants to know. What are your overall thoughts of this episode?
It wasn't a boring one. It wasn't a snooze fest. I'm glad we have a simple tale, realistically. Nothing seemed far-fetched. Nothing seemed like it didn't fit. Like, it was just consistent all the way through, whether, you deemed it as a good one or not. Like, it was just, I'm glad, like, it just ties it all together. I was really hoping for something like that. Mm-hmm. But the twist did get me.
Yeah. I do feel like it was a good episode. I don't think it was worthy of the season premiere of an episode, right? Because if you think of all these first 3 episodes being the season premiere, this one, to me, doesn't really carry itself in a way that I think should be in the top 3. So that's a bit of a bummer, especially because so far we've had 2 that I feel like don't really belong in the first 3. The first one I just felt like was bad. The Love to Death, that was just bad. This isn't bad. It's just, I don't think it's top first 3 episodes worthy.
But we got Carry On Death, though.
Yeah, that was really good, yeah. Carry On Death is going to carry us through these first 3 episodes. All right. I don't want to make it sound like I don't like this. I like this episode. I really do. It's just, I feel it's not quite Tales from the Crypt, like top tier for it to be, involved in the first 3. That's what I'm saying. So it opens up with the crypt keeper closing a coffin, and you see like an arm hanging out of the coffin there.
Yeah.
He says, "Greetings, boars and ghouls. I'll be with you as soon as I finish with this customer. we're just going over some terms of his coverage. And he says coverage just as he's covering the body. I thought that was that was nice. I'll bet this is one clause he won't be getting out of. Tonight's nasty nugget concerns a man with a problem. He wants to collect on his life insurance without dying in the process. I call this little annuity the trap.
I enjoyed when he was like kind of struggling to cover like the little casket. He's like, like it's funny. He has these little moments. Yeah, he's a little human about it, you know. Like he's struggling. That one episode where he was doing his makeup, his face care routine. Like it's just like the small things, you know. Like basically, oh yeah.
That's a cute thing to pick up on. I like that too, now that you mention it. All right. Well, that brings us to the opening panel, which is they're at a funeral. Okay, there's a man in the coffin, and there's like a little cutout of the coffin so you can see him in there. Some man who's clearly alive, smiling, counting money, and then outside is just a group of people kind of sad that they're at a funeral. So that kind of sums up the episode. Yeah, the man's alive and he's faking his death and he's counting money. So there's clearly something going on with death and money in this episode.
Yeah, when I saw this opening panel, I immediately thought of like Dig That Cat. He's real gone. Like,
oh, right.
I thought it was like, oh, he's gonna die in the coffin or whatever. So I was really anticipating that the whole episode when this came out. Or
yeah, it does remind me of that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think
it's the same idea.
If they wanted to tip their hat a little bit more in this episode with the opening panel, they could have had the man and the woman there, Bill and what's her name, Irene, maybe looking at each other or maybe embracing each other a little bit more to kind of to suggest that part of the story as well. I thought they that would have been one extra touch they could have added.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
So the episode opens. We're like in a kitchen. There's a woman kind of, dancing to a song. She's getting ready to cook up a meal. She's actually not cooking a meal. She's just putting together tuna fish. And she opens up the cabinet and all they have are cans of tuna. So she's making up a tuna fish, and someone this is an interesting way to open this scene, I thought. There's like somebody watching from outside, and then they come inside and sneak up on her. And it scares her, but it turns out to just be her husband. This is Lou, by the way, and she's Irene. So basically Irene says, "What are you doing home so early?" And he says, "I got canned." And she goes, "You got canned? You were just delivering pizzas." So he couldn't hold the job delivering pizzas. He I guess he doesn't know the area well enough. He got lost. He couldn't find the address. And then when he finally found it, he couldn't find his way back to the car. And he says it took him 3 hours to deliver the pizza. So he got fired. The man can't even deliver pizzas.
Apart from him just getting fired after a week of just delivering pizzas, I really like the opening when she's like taking a moment like, oh, which can of tuna? Because I don't know why, but I thought of the same thing. Like, yeah, I'd do the same thing. Like, oh, which one do I want? To pick. It's like they're all the same realistically. It doesn't matter, but it's like you get to choose in a sense. Like, oh, today it's this tuna can. But I also thought they had cats, but I didn't know it was just for him, or her. So it's just weird that it was just making a bowl of tuna, like a tuna salad or something.
Apparently, that's all they eat.
Yeah.
But I guess it also leans into the fact that they're broke. Right? All they can afford is just tuna. Just cans and cans of tuna.
I didn't think of that. I never thought like that's like a broke thing. Like, I mean, I enjoy tuna, but I guess I see it now. Like that could be just a poverty thing. Like canned food just permanently. Yeah. I can see it.
Yeah. Oh, I like tuna fish. I'll eat a tuna fish sandwich. Yeah, but they're cheap.
Yeah.
So the next scene, they're in the living room, and basically she's all worried about him not having a job, and Lou's insisting, "Don't worry, I can handle it. I'll just borrow some money from my mom." And she says, "No, your mom doesn't have any more money to give." And he says, "Don't worry, we'll borrow money from your mom." And she goes, "My mom's dead." So
yeah, he's scummy.
Yeah, he's pretty scummy, very, very scummy. But there's one thing I will say about him though. She offers to work. She says, "Maybe I can go get a job." And he says, no wife of Lou is going to go get a job. So he won't let his wife work. I guess you can see that as a noble thing. Like he wants to provide, but maybe I see it more actually now that I said it, maybe I see it more that he wants a woman at home to basically cook and clean and be a housekeeper for him. I think that's his angle.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, from the first scene, he is kind of aggressive to her. It's like maybe it's kind of an abusive relationship, because also at the end of the first scene, because when she got scared, she drops the bowl of tuna. And at the end of that scene, he just knocks it over. It's like, oh, right. It's like, you're not really helping out here at all. You're just frustrated and angry.
That's
like,
right.
Okay.
Yeah, I forgot about that part too. He did. Because she had dropped the tuna. Then she took all that time to clean it up. And then he just knocks it over again.
It's like, all right.
Yeah. He's definitely, well, from what we see, he's very verbally abusive. But then we do, there is a line of dialogue later that clues you into, yeah, he might also be physically abusive as well. So after she reminds him that her mom is dead, the phone rings, and she answers it, and it's like some bill collectors, and she says basically they're threatening to take away his life insurance if he doesn't pay the bills, and that's the moment that gives Lou the idea. He basically says, "What if I can get that money and I don't have to die?" At that moment, he calls his brother Billy. His brother is a coroner at the local morgue, and he calls his brother. He says, "Hey, Billy, you're not doing anything right. You're coming over." He basically calls Billy over to concoct this plan of faking his own death. But I do like this one scene in the morgue, how Billy's kind of working on this corpse. He has his drill. He puts it down to the guy's skull, and you see blood splatter all over his smock or apron or whatever that is. I like that. I like those little elements of gore and grotesqueness in these episodes. There's not a lot in this episode, so I liked what I did get, though. I kind of like that little splatter of blood. Was a nice touch.
It's just little. Also, I don't think it was a drill. I believe it was a saw. I think he was like sawing open like the skull or something, because he made a little mark. But I did like the splatter because on the phone and on his face, it's like, no protective gear. Just,
So this next scene with the plan, this is where Bill actually comes over to Lou's house. And Lou basically says, look, if I fake my death, I'll get, he has like a whole scheme. He'll get $250,000, but it'll be doubled, because if it's murder, it's doubled, I guess, is what he said. And so he'll get $500,000. And of course, his wife and his brother don't want to go along with this. They're like, no, we can't do this. And Lou basically forces him. He says, look, if you don't follow along and do what I want, I'm going to tell mom that you took out all of her retirement money. And Billy says, I did that for you. And he says, I'll just say I never saw the money. It was your signature over everything. So he's willing to throw anybody under the bus that he has to in order to get what he wants. So he basically strong arms his brother Bill and his wife Irene into going along with this crazy plan.
Just insane. Like, you get to know more about him. Like his brother's name is just on all these documents. Like, he's basically forging just so he just has like a fall guy permanently. It's messed up. Yeah,
his brother really is at his beck and call. This next scene, the whole staging the murder, I do like this scene. It's funny. We have Lou on the floor. His face is all painted white. He's supposed to be dead, but then he reaches over and he scratches his crotch. And basically his wife says, honey, stop scratching. He goes, well, I can't help it. It itches. Bill, comes over and comments, your face is too white. Yeah, they're never going to believe it if they see your face. So Lou gets up, he leaves the room to apply better makeup, and that leaves Bill and Irene alone in the living room. And this is where plot B starts to kind of fester, right? This is where we kind of start to see the relationship between these two. So basically he says to her, look, tell the police that you came home and you saw Lou dying, and he told you a burglar. He walked in on a burglar. And you called me because I'm a doctor, and I came over, and then I called the police. And then she looks at him kind of longingly and kind of gets a little closer, and the music starts to swell, and she goes, and then what happens? And then they kind of get closer together. You sense they start to kind of get a little kiss going on, and then Lou comes back in with his loud mouth yelling at them about, whatever.
I'm actually, I was happy that was kind of happening, because she definitely deserved better, even if like whatever her personality was, because you don't get to see much about her. She was just kind of like the emotional punching bag for most of the episode, anyways. So it was nice, like she's kind of getting out of that position. Even if it means it was cheating on Lou, but it's a Lou. It's not like you're rooting for him to have a committed wife at that point. Like,
right. That's a good point.
Yeah. But it was fun, like how they're trying to set it up, like a little robbery, and yeah, it was cute. Like I liked it. It made sense.
So they're setting up the scene at this point near the fireplace. Bill cuts a hole through Lou's shirt. He applies some like blood and some bodily tissue, like bone and skin, and then he kind of puts blood all over the place. And I like how he's explaining it as he's doing it. He basically says, the murder weapon goes in, it comes out, and it brings out bone and tissue, and then the blood's gonna squirt out. And I like the way he described it so matter-of-factly while he's like pouring blood and putting debris all over him. That was kind of a nice little scene. And then they dispose of the murder weapon, and he's kind of getting into place, and then he scratches himself again, and then it's like the whole scene of just him scratching himself. So Lou at this point realizes, look, I need to be unconscious for this. I can't stop scratching myself. So he gives a fire pick to Irene and says, look, basically hit me. And she goes, I'm not going to hit you. And he goes, think of it as payback for all the times I knocked you around. So I guess that's the little clue that lets you know that, yeah, he does get physically abusive as well. Then to really up the ante, he says, you remember when I was late? I was banging Betty LaRue back in the beauty bar. And she goes, my best friend? And he goes, yeah. So she hits him finally. And he goes, that's it? That's weak, especially if you consider the number of times and then she hits him again and she hits him again. And then at this point, because he keeps running in his mouth, Bill actually steps up, grabs the poker and starts hitting him on the head until he's unconscious. And he says, I hate the way he treats you. So again, there's more of that, those emotions and the feelings that they have for each other kind of coming out.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed how many times he got whacked, because I was getting curious, like, is he going to die? Because those look like pretty brutal hits. Because then Bill gets really concerned as well. He's like, oh, did I kill him? Yeah, it ruined everything. Yeah, all the setup for a fake murder, and then next thing you kill the person that you're trying to fake it.
Yeah, that would have been an interesting twist, huh? If they had killed him in that moment, and then they try to figure out where to go from there. That would be interesting. Actually, that would have been an interesting twist.
It would have been so messy. Yeah.
So this next scene is where the police come to do their little investigation. And this is where we get introduced to the police chief. I forget his name, but this is one of my favorite characters in the show. I love this. I love his energy that he brings. He insists that the coroner, Bill, goes home. And Bill's like, no, I want to stay here. And he goes, all right, you're tough. I admire you. And then he says, don't you worry. We're going to get the scumbag who did this. And he's totally gung-ho about capturing whoever committed this murder. I love this police chief, by the way. I really thought that he was going to be the character that kind of spun this out of control. I thought that he was going to be the one who's just following all these crazy leads to try to, figure out what happened when really nothing happened. So I at this point in the episode, I was looking forward to this cop being that character who just kind of spiraled this out of control. He didn't end up being that character, but I still liked what he brought to the table.
I could definitely see that. He was definitely enjoyable. I did like his energy as well.
Yeah, he even wants to test the blood and the fingerprints on the poker. And Bill has to be like, no, don't worry about it. I'll do the blood test. Let me take care of this. And the police chief goes, okay, yeah, I'll file the report now. And he leaves. And that leaves basically the three of them in the room together. They get kind of close again, the Bill and Irene. And then at that moment, of course, to end the scene, Lou's got to scratch himself again. So I do like that, the ongoing gag of him constantly scratching himself. I wish that came up more throughout the rest of the episode. It was just kind of in this scene, but I still like that whole gag. So next scene's a funeral, and we get introduced at this point to Lou and Bill's mom, Mrs. Paloma, and she's absolutely hysterical, right? Sitting there crying. But I do like that the police chief comes in, again, still talking to Bill, and he basically says, no one saw anybody enter the house. No one saw anyone leave the house. There's been no records of anyone selling any stolen goods. I think we're dealing with a professional here. Like, he's he's so on this case. I just love everything he's bringing to the table. I thought it was so funny.
He's a good cop.
He's a good cop, yeah. He's a good cop who's also getting one over on him. So on that part, I guess I do kind of feel bad for him. Because he really does want to solve the murder. He is upset that Lou Paloma got murdered. He wants to get to the bottom of it. And this whole dynamic. Oh, by the way, this funeral is very interesting. How many people were at this funeral? Like 3, 4?
I think so. I think I think, yeah, it was like a handful. It wasn't much.
It's the mom, it's the wife, it's the brother, and then the cops there. There's really just four people at this funeral. There's like nobody liked this guy, so. Lou.
Can't really blame, that whole character. Like, who would want to be there?
Yeah. But the mom absolutely is like in love with her son, Lou. She's like so distraught that he's gone. And she says, I just want to be with my son. And Bill says, Mom, I'm your son too. And she goes, don't rub it in. Even Irene says, don't worry, Miss Paloma. He's in a better place. And she goes, what the hell would you know? You didn't deserve my Lou. She absolutely thinks Lou is such a wonderful, wonderful guy.
Or was a wonderful guy. And then she kind of got stuck in that like image and didn't see him like grow up to be how he is now. That's probably another thing I thought about when I was first watching it.
Here's a bit of trivia for you. The woman who plays Lou's mother, did you recognize her?
I did not know.
She is the mother in Kindergarten Cop. The one who is Crisp's mom. Remember the bad guy?
Oh, okay, I see.
His mother.
She plays the mom?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so
That's
how funny
crazy,
is that she plays these two crazy mothers who just absolutely love their disgusting, awful sons.
She's a typecast.
I guess so. I thought that was funny. I definitely recognized her. Even through all that makeup, I recognized her.
Yeah, I did not. I'm glad you brought that.
So after the funeral, everybody leaves, and it's just Bill and Irene on the outside while Lou's on the inside. And you even see like from inside the coffin, he's just inside like reading something, kind of laughing to himself. But on the outside, alone, Bill and Irene finally like basically confess their love for each other. They kiss, and they even lay right on top of the coffin and start making out on top of the coffin. And they're doing so feverishly, they don't even realize that she had kicked the lever that activated the conveyor belt that's going to send this coffin directly into the flames for cremation. And I thought this would have been an interesting twist. Like, oh, what if now he gets cremated? Like, what if that happens? Or what if they all get cremated or something like that? Like, I thought that would kind of be a fun place to take this episode. But at this point, the mom did come back. She raced back in. She jumped on top of the coffin. And my Lou. And then, he's inside because he knows something's going on. He can feel himself moving. So he starts to yell. He starts to get nervous. And she goes, oh, I can hear him. So the cop comes back in, grabs her, takes her away. And basically they turn off the conveyor belt just in time to rescue Lou from dying. And the next scene is them kind of toasting champagne in celebration of everything they got away with. And this is where this is where the twist starts to happen. Lou's original plan was to fake his own death, collect the $500,000, and fly to South America with his wife, get plastic surgery, and just live a new life. But Bill and Irene suggest, well, what if you go first? Get out of town. Okay, we'll give you, $15,000 up front. Take the money, go get a head start. We'll hang out here and let all this tension and everything kind of just pass and get settled down, and then we'll move to meet you there. And Lou says, all right, yeah, that sounds like a good plan. So that's, of course, Irene and Bill kind of, starting to do their own little trap, I suppose you would call it.
I mean, I was sold on that scene, honestly, when they were saying, oh yeah, we don't want her to just move instantly. We gotta make her grieve. Like it all made sense. I was like, yeah, that honestly would make a lot of sense for like just someone just like trying to avoid the insurance fraud, right? Or I guess life insurance fraud claims. So, but yeah, it didn't occur to me that was the trap being set yet. Like it literally didn't occur to me until he was already in South America and all that seemed to happen. Oh, I was like, oh,
yeah.
And it hit me. Oh yeah, duh.
These South America scenes, by the way, I thought these were great. These were so funny. I love, because the whole time he's down there, there's only one setting basically in South America, and it's basically a beachfront bar, right? A beautiful tropical beachfront bar, and he's sitting there, and he's got the tape all over his face from the plastic surgery. He orders a drink from the bartender. He starts to flirt with the women there at the bar. And he says, don't worry, I won't be married long. Moving here is going to kill my wife. So he, at this point, I think he is planning on taking her out as well and just having all the money for himself, $500,000 there in South America.
Like reading that line again, it's like him moving there kind of did kill his wife, because I don't want to go too ahead of myself. But, what I mean? That did kill his wife in a sense, which,
yeah,
it's interesting to think about. Yeah.
That's a good way to put it too. Yeah. I also like that he claimed he was a boxer to the women. I was a boxer.
I do, yeah.
Yeah, I was a boxer. That's why I have all this stuff on my face. So he calls home and there's no answer. Basically goes right to the answer machine. So he's kind of sitting there, maybe, a little bit confused. At this point, the bartender brings him his cocktail, puts it down. He says, another beautiful sunset, is it not? And Lou says, yeah, it's nice. Cut to the next scene. And I think this is probably like a month later at least, right? Because the bandages are gone from his face at this point.
Yeah, it's like slowly healing.
Yeah. So I think this is like a month, maybe even 2 months later. And he's out of his bandages. He's sitting there. And he actually has another lady with him at the bar. He's making another call, right? And it goes right to answer machine. So nobody answers. And the bartender brings him the drink. He says, here's your usual Mr. Smith. Another beautiful sunset, is it not? And he goes, yeah. He's totally over it. He says, the bartender says, have you spoken with Mrs. Smith? She's coming, yes? And he goes, yeah. And so was Christmas. So at this point, he's getting frustrated, which brings us to the next scene, which I thought was probably the funniest. At this point, he's at the same bar. He's not drinking those fancy drinks anymore. He's got a whole row of shot glasses. He's had it. At this point, when he calls, it doesn't even go to voicemail. It just goes right to this number has been disconnected. So he slams the phone down and he's sitting there and he's just stewing. And at that moment, the bartender comes back up and goes, another beautiful sunset. And he goes, shut up. And I love how wide open his eyes are. Like he's completely seething mad. At this point he realizes something's going on.
Mm-hmm. I love that bartender. He's good.
Yeah, I like that bartender a lot too.
It's a quick little pacing. It's it's pretty much told how much time has passed realistically too.
Yeah. It never says a month later or 2 months later, but you do get the sense that time's passing, especially because the healing on his face, it goes from bandages to no bandages. So yeah. And it just, the way it does happen so quick, it's funny the way to see him escalate, how he's kind of okay, yeah. We'll see what happens to just completely, shut up. So he flies back home. And when he gets there, he knocks on his own door basically. And Bill answers and he goes, can I help you? He goes, what do you mean, can you help me? I'm your brother. He goes, no, you're not. At this point, this is where everything starts to flip. So Lou's back, quote unquote, home, but it's totally different. It's like everything's so clean and tidy and it's just so fancy. And they're basically saying, we don't know who you are. And they end up calling the police, and even the police chief comes and he's not having any of this. Lou was sitting at the table at one point. He had his foot up on the table, and the police chief comes over, kicks his foot off the table, picks him up, and basically says, who do you think you are? I saw Lou Paloma dead right over there. I love the police chief in this scene too.
His energy is actually unmatched for this whole cast. He just only had a couple lines, but he delivered every time. Yeah,
he might be my MVP of the episode. So this next scene, this brings us to the courtroom, where this is where we meet. By the way, we didn't mention it in the very beginning. This is where we meet the director of the episode, isn't it?
I wonder who the director is.
So this is where we meet Michael J. Fox, the director of the episode, and he plays the lawyer. So he's basically going through all the witnesses of this scene. The police chief basically says, the fingerprints on the poker that was used to kill Mr. Paloma belonged to Mr. Smith. So remember, Paloma was the original Lou was cremated, quote unquote. So they can't get his fingerprints, right? But they can get Mr. Smith's fingerprints, and it turns out that Mr. Smith's fingerprints were on the poker, right? Even the bartender comes to this scene, and he gets deposed up there on the stand, and the bartender says, "Oh yes, Mr. Smith and I have watched many beautiful sunsets together." The mother takes a stand too, which I thought was weird because the mother says, "Oh yeah, that's my son Lou right there." And then the lawyer says, "Well, and who am I?" And she goes, "You're my son Lou." And he goes, "Who are you?" "I'm Eleanor Roosevelt." Was any of that necessary? That was just a weird scene.
I think it was just to build up like, oh, it's just like his way out because, it showed everyone on the stand that was kind of against, like, oh, that's not Lou. The wife, the brother, the bartender said, like, that's not Mr. Lou, that's Mr. Smith.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know Mr. Smith. And then to have her just say, oh, that's Lou. And he's like, oh, yes, bring it home, bring the cavalry home, Mom. And then make her have like an insanity moment. Just like maybe because she was like kind of already hysterical when he passed. And I think that already pushed her further, and that we're just gonna just take that kind of like, we're just gonna like take that already. So it wasn't too weird for me. I kind of see that, but I did like that little like twist. It's like, oh, and I'm Eleanor Roosevelt. I was like, okay, he has definitely lost it.
Yeah, it was weird. It was definitely weird. I just think that scene would have been okay if she was just, no, my son Lou, I never got over his death. Like if she was just distraught like that, I would have been okay with that. But the way they took it was weird. I didn't find it necessary, but whatever. It was just, I guess it was a funny moment. So basically at this point, Michael J. Fox, the lawyer, he asserts that Mr. Smith murdered Lou, ruined the lives of Irene and Bill, and then weaseled his way back into their lives for financial gain. And the members of the jury find Mr. Smith, I love this part, guilty, guilty, guilty. I love that part. The juror, she got so worked up on shouting guilty that she had to, like, you even see like a moment where she has to like contain herself and like get a hold of herself before she sits back down. I love that moment. Oh, that was a standout moment for me too. That might be my shriek of the week. Guilty, guilty, guilty. So you just absolutely lost it with guilties.
Yeah, I don't know why she was so worked up. That one kind of like confused me a little bit because like she was really invested with that whole court case. So yeah, I mean it's fine. That
was a funny moment. I like that moment a lot.
Yeah.
So the next scene, Lou is sentenced to the electric chair. What do you know? Another scene with an electric chair and another great moment that we could have had. Our good friend from way back in season 1. Oh, what was his name again? I can't remember the character's name. But we could have had him pull on that switch again. That would have been a great reoccurring character because I tell you, the electric chair, I think, has made more cameos in Tales from the Crypt than probably any other thing.
Niles
Talbert, that's right.
Yeah, it'd be fun. Every death sentence with electric chair would just be fun to always have him.
Yeah. Oh, and I like Lou Paloma's last word. He says, "I'm Lou Paloma. Blow me."
So over is like, yeah.
So Lou Paloma dies in the electric chair, and we're taken to South America, where Mr. and Mrs. Paloma are drinking on that beautiful South American beachfront bar where the bartender's there again. He goes, "Another beautiful sunset, is it not?" And they say, "Of course it is," and they kiss. So that's how the episode ends. From there, we're taken to the Crypt Keeper, and at this point, he's dressed up in like a suit, and he's canceling insurance papers and putting them in like to a briefcase. So he's a very professional setting. I kind of like this look for him. He says, "Poor Lou. I bet he wished now that he'd gone for the term life. Even a life term would have been an improvement. Although you've got to admit, he's never looked so juiced about his future. So what do you say? Can I interest you in a policy? The benefits are great, but the screamiums will kill you."
Is that one of his better cackles? Like it's getting more amped up each season.
So, well, yeah, I did like this episode. I did. I know I kind of, poo-pooed on it in the beginning, and my issue is if this was episode 8 or 9 or 10, like if we were like in the middle of the season and this episode popped up, I'd be like, yeah, this is great. This is a really good Tales from the Crypt episode. My problem is, I think so far the first 3 have had reputations of being really top-notch episodes. And I just don't think this one really takes it there. Now, either did the first episode though. So I feel like this is kind of a weak start to the season. I feel like if I was watching this way back in the day, back in the 90s, and I was on board with Tales from the Crypt, and then I got done with this night of 3 episodes, I'd be like, there was one good one in there.
Maybe not. Because maybe you were like, it's one of those things where like, if you watch it when you're younger and you watch it when you're older, like you kind of give it more credit sometimes. Like, oh yeah, this is so much better. So maybe it could have been, you could have liked it, you could have loved it more, and not liked it as much now. I could see that. But yeah, maybe you would have enjoyed it still.
Yeah. I mean, the character of Lou is such a caricature. He's just so over the top. He's so womanizing. He's such a chauvinist. He has all of those characteristics all rolled up into one person. He's like just like the perfect character that you love to hate. So there's that aspect of it. I'm sure that could be a lot of fun to really dive into and just see someone that's that awful get his comeuppance. I can see the fun in that. But I want more of that gore and horror, and
it'll get better. I believe it'll get better. It's okay. Yeah.
I think this is going to be a great season. I just think it's a little bit of a rocky start. As far as other shows or movies that this is similar to, I'm trying to think of other movies or shows that had a whole like faking your death for the insurance money type things going on. Any other things that you can think of like that?
No, realistically, just Dig That Cat, Now You're Gone is the only thing that came to mind when the whole faking your death scenario. I couldn't think of anything else at the time.
You know what? It makes me think of GoldenEye, the 007 movie. Because remember, in the very beginning, 006, it appears that he blew up. But at the very end, it's revealed that he was the mastermind behind, the whole GoldenEye thing. So he didn't do it for insurance money. So there's that difference. But I just thought of that when somebody comes back to life who should have been dead. And almost any horror movie, right? Where one of the characters seems to have died, but then comes back by the end.
Wise Guys.
Oh, I never watched Wise Guys.
It's Danny DeVito and Joe Piscopo. They lose $250,000 and they're set up to kill each other, but they just go to Atlantic City, and it's a comedy thing.
And as far as being a couple who the man is being basically abusive, it did make me think of Collection Completed.
Wait, what would be the faking death portion?
No, there's no faking death. It's just about the husband being like mean to abusive, the wife constantly, and just basically unappreciative. Now it wasn't to the level of the trap of Lou Paloma. Mm-hmm. I think Lou Paloma is a combination of the husband from Collection Completed and the uncle from Fitting Punishment, Ezra. Very, very physically and verbally abusive, but also a husband. Yeah, there was a lot of, I don't want to call them red herrings, but a lot of points where it could have gone one way or the other. Like when the brother starts hitting him over the head with the poker, he could have killed his brother at that point. Luke could have died at that point, and then we could have watched how they got themselves out of that. You know what I mean? Or maybe how they didn't get themselves out of that, and they got into trouble for it. They could have let him go into the cremation thing. Yeah, the incinerator. They could have gone that way. They definitely could have taken an off ramp on this story at several places, but where they decided to take it, I think, was very good justice for Lou Paloma. Well, let's get ourselves to the score. I am going to give this, now, this might be lower than it deserves, but I'm going to go with 3. I'm going to go with 3 beautiful sunsets. I think it's good. I think it's a fine episode, but I think I am a little bit bitter about this is the start to our season 3.
Well, I mean, a 3 is still pretty solid. It's better than having, well, this whole premiere though was the first episode, you gave it a pretty decent score, right? You didn't like give
What
it
did
a
I
2
give the
or anything
first?
like
Let me
that?
check real quick. The first episode of this premiere, I gave a 2.
Okay. Well, that's unfortunate that, it's an okay start, but Carry On Death does carry this premiere, unfortunately.
Yeah.
It does suck when it's only one episode that kind of carries it instead of like they're kind of all equal, or I don't know. I do agree with you, but surprisingly, I'm not as bitter about it. So I am actually willing to give it just a little bit more. So I'll give it like a 3.5. I'll do 3.5 tuna cans. I'll do something silly.
3.5
So I'll give it, yeah.
Yeah. It was going to be either 3 beautiful sunsets or 3 guilties.
Oh, that's a good one, actually. That's pretty good. If I match with the 3 points, that's what I'll give it. But no, I enjoy the chemistry. I enjoy, honestly, all the characters pretty much brought their game. Like there was no one that was like kind of like just there. Like everyone had really good delivery, and it's a Michael J. Fox, celebrity directed episode.
Yeah,
I love these celebrity directed episodes, and when they show up as well, because Arnold didn't show up, but that's whatever. He committed to just being a director, so I did like that.
Yeah.
Difference.
Yeah, it was a fine episode. I don't think it belongs in the first 3 episodes. So before we get going, I do want to respond to some correspondence here. Joe Hill has a comment from back in season 1. This is for the episode My Brother's Keeper, where they're Siamese twins, they're conjoined twins. He says he liked the episode, but he feels there's a major plot hole. How could Eddie have possibly hired Marie to convince her to manipulate Frank without Frank knowing? When would he have had the opportunity to have a private conversation with her when Frank is literally attached to his side? That is such a glaring plot hole that I never considered. And the fact that I never considered it, just tells you how good the story is to me. Like, I was thoroughly in it for the ride. And that got me thinking, actually, how did he ever put the contract to sign in the medicine cabinet? Or how did he ever have it in the platter? Like, how did he get all those moments? He would not have been able to do that. But the fact that I never even questioned it when I was watching it, and I watched it multiple times, I think that just goes to show you how fun and how good the episode was to just not really, to just, gloss over those fine details and just enjoy the story for what it was telling.
But that's funny. We both didn't catch that, like, at all. Like, yeah, how would he have hired her?
Yeah.
But
how would they have any of those conversations? Maybe he just makes a call at night, or maybe he drugs them. No, because if he drugs them, he would feel the effects too. I don't know. Maybe he just waits till he's asleep and makes very quiet phone calls.
Yeah, maybe. Or they sleepwalk, and then
I don't know.
He just does whatever.
Yeah, definitely a glaring plot hole. Thanks for that, Joseph. All right. Well, let's chat real quick about shoutouts. If you are into this Tales from the Crypt stuff, there's other podcasters out there who talk about Tales from the Crypt. We're talking the Creeps of the Crypt and the Crypt Keepers podcast. I'm going to link their stuff down below. I'm still listening to them. I still enjoy hearing their perspectives. If you want to hear other people's perspective on this show that we all love, go listen to them as well. And there is Haddonfield Radio. I'm still listening to Haddonfield Radio. I'll leave a link to their information below as well. And Revenge, Return, Resurrection, I think is what it's called. I'll leave their link down below as well. They're just a group of friends who talk about a bunch of horror movies. You know, I love my horror movie stuff. And don't forget, there's also us. My name's Kenny, and I can be found on YouTube as well as Twitch at Too Bad About Kenny. That's TOO Bad About Kenny, as well as the number 2 Bad About Kenny. Either of those searches will pull me up, either doing movie reviews and book reviews or video game streaming. So go ahead and poke around, see what you can find. Hopefully you enjoy it. Godden, where can they find you?
Well, they can find us at our Twitter, the Crypteakers, and they can find me playing games at Twitch, EUAPP06. My schedule's a little finicky right now, so I haven't been consistent, but catch me when I am on, say hi, let me know if you do stop by because of the podcast or just somehow, you just found me.
Yeah. Thanks for saying that, Godden. If anybody out there comes through on any one of our streams, feel free to chat with us about the podcast and not the game. That's perfectly okay too. I'm definitely down to chat more about Tales from the Crypt, even when I'm playing another game. So I don't mind. Yeah, come through. Well, okay. With all that said, thanks for tuning in, everybody. If you want to keep up with what we're watching, next week we'll be watching season 3, episode 4, Abracadaver. And I looked at the art for this episode. I think I remember this episode. I think this is a good episode coming up, Godden. I really do. I remember it fondly.
The title.
Abracadaver. Yeah, it's got a great title. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if it's the episode I think it is, I think this is a good one. So tune in next week for Abracadaver. Thanks, everybody. Don't forget to like and subscribe and share and all that kind of stuff. Let's grow this community for a place for all of us to share our thoughts on a show that we all love. Until next time, kiddies.
Well, how was that for a scream, boys and ghouls?